a handbook to work back. And then the other thing that students often have problems with is writer's block. Even good writers have problems with writer's block. Just try to keep writing. Keep writing, because if you see it as a revision process, you can always go back and say, wow, this 2 paragraphs has nothing to do with my essay. I'll cross it out and start over. All right, so I think we have about 10 minutes. I've been talking for a little over 15. Do you have any questions for me about writing, about college writing in specific? Like I said, I teach freshmen and sophomores, so
How much?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Thank you. How much do you usually? How many reports do you usually do when you're first entering into an English writing class?
Well, UTA has a fairly standard requirement for the freshman composition course. You usually have somewhere between 3 or 4 projects, major projects, and they're anywhere from 3 to 5 pages per. So you usually end up writing about 25 to 30 pages your first semester. And some of that can be informal writing. So it could be brainstorming, free writing. It could be responding to a text. So it's not that you have to write 30 continuous pages, but it's usually broke up into smaller assignments. And then as you move on to the next one, which is 1302, that usually requires a really formal academic research paper at the end. And that's usually somewhere between 7 and 10 pages, which for students often seems like an entire book. But really, once you start doing the research, 7 to 10 pages isn't that long. Any other questions? That's a good question.
Would it be best to get your English classes out of the way first if you're in high school? Or your writing courses?
I guess I'm not sure. I guess if you're taking an AP course, I kind of always suggest that people do that. The thing with writing though is make sure that you continue with it. So once you finish those credits, keep practicing your writing, because the other problem I have is I've taught the sophomore literature class or the 1301 when seniors who tried to avoid writing come back, and usually they're at a pretty strong disadvantage because they've been away from writing for such a long time that it's really a struggle for them. So I do suggest you do it early, but I also suggest that you kind of keep up with it, even if it's informally, writing for your own kind of pleasure, I guess. Any other questions? These are all good questions.
Mr. Lubert, I'm taking dual credit at the moment, and I'm taking English 1302. Can you give me a better understanding what critical analysis, the essays, can you give me a better understanding of what it is about?
Critical analysis? Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yep, I do. Yeah, that's a really good question. College writing requires that you critically read, think, and write is what they call it. Really what that is engaging with a text. So you read a text, you find out what its major arguments are, and that can be something as simple as summarizing it to author X is arguing Y. And then what you do with that information is you make your own position on it. So you may agree or disagree with what they're arguing, and you have to critically think through and write why you disagree or why you agree with them. And really good critical thinking doesn't pose either or arguments. So you look at something and you say, I really agree with this part of what this author is saying. However, I think he or she is missing the mark here. And so you can praise and on the same hand criticize something in a text. Does that answer your question?
So it's okay to be biased?
Well, you have to be careful with being biased, because when you get to 1302, I don't know if you've got to the section yet with fallacies, but you don't want to write a paper where you stack the deck, which is I'm only going to write from my perspective, and I'm going to ignore everyone else's perspective, because usually a reader's going to pick up on that and say, wow, this person is completely ignoring an important part of the conversation. But it is your position. But what the critical aspect of that is that it's thoughtful, you've engaged with the text, you recognize its strengths, and you recognize some of its weaknesses. And a lot of you do this already when you decide, what products to buy or what you're going to do someday. You weigh in your options and say, well, this is better because of this, however, it has a problem because of this. So, you're already kind of engaged with this type of thing. It's just applying it to texts and arguments. Does that help?
Okay. Yes, it does. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? One thing you should expect to do is the first 1301 and 1302 usually demand a lot of reading. So be prepared to read a lot. And again, part of the critical thinking, and this is a tip I'll give you, is take notes. Or if you're okay with it, some students aren't because of the selling back their books part, is writing in the margins, annotating your texts, noting those points where you disagree or agree with an argument and why, and putting that either on a separate sheet of paper or in the margins of your texts. That's a really kind of helpful tip. And then when you go to write your paper, you can go back in and look at those annotations, and that'll help.
Okay.
All right. And anything else? Usually 1301, I think, is the class most people dread. They have to take it. People hate writing, hate reading. Why can't I watch the movie? But it is a requirement, so it's better that you kind of go into it knowing that it's a process and you're going to have to work at it, and that you need to continually be writing and revising. All right, any other questions? These are all good questions. Do you all have a good idea of what plagiarism is?
Yes.
Yeah? Good. That's, as I said, that's really important. There's always at least one student every semester that I have to send over to judicial affairs for plagiarism. And usually they know what plagiarism is, but I forgot to write my essay, so I cut and paste 3 pages off Wikipedia. Well, that doesn't work, so. Anything else? Any other questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No? All right, do you have anything else? Well, it was nice to meet you all. Hopefully we see you. Remember, if we do see you here, the Writing Center is available, and as I said, we do have a distance portion of it for Skype, so if you're not on campus, we can help you with that as well. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So the reason why that we provided you with this information is that you guys have a research paper that's due this month. Okay, so you should have received that information last month and have started on it. But for those who have not started on it, as Mr. Liber was saying, you guys need to get started, and it's important that you get started soon. Okay.
Okay.
For City, what are you guys doing up there?
Fixing the camera. Yeah.
You guys see us?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, it says scheduled meeting ends in 5 minutes.
What was that?
Ooh.
The meeting ends in 5 minutes.
There's like a little box on the screen. Oh, never mind. It's not there anymore.
I think it mutes us.
Oh wow.
Wait. No, one person talk at one time. So what's going on in the next 5 minutes?
It's because there was a little box that appeared that said that the meeting was gonna end in 5 minutes, but it went away.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that was on ours last time. Nothing happened though.
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. No, you guys are gonna be okay, okay?
Okay.
Now,